Hi, I'm Clover. That's what my parents named me because I was their lucky charm, born on St. Patrick's Day. Ironic how my luck seemed to run out last Tuesday at Marksman's Haven, the gun store where I'd been a loyal customer for 3 years. Morning, Clover. Right on time for your safety certification renewal, said Megan, the friendly clerk who usually handled my paperwork. Her bright smile and effortless chatter always made the bureaucratic side of gun ownership less tedious. Wouldn't miss it. Is Rick around today? He mentioned some new hunting rifles coming in, I replied, glancing around the shop. The usual crowd of weekend warriors and serious collectors milled about, examining everything from basic handguns to elaborate scopes. Megan's smile faltered slightly. Actually, he's in a meeting with Devin, the new floor manager. Have you met him yet? Don't think so. New guy? Yeah, started 3 weeks ago. She hesitated, lowering her voice. He's got some interesting opinions about who should and shouldn't be handling firearms. I raised an eyebrow. Interesting how? Megan glanced over my shoulder and straightened up immediately, her professional smile snapping back into place. I'll go grab your paperwork. I turned to see a tall man with a military-style haircut and a too-tight polo shirt approaching. The name tag read Devin in bold letters. Can I help you? His tone suggested the opposite of assistance. I'm here for my safety certification renewal. Megan's getting my paperwork. Devin looked me up and down, his gaze lingering on my floral blouse and manicured nails. You're a regular? 3 years now. I compete in sport shooting over at Pine Ridge. He said, clearly unimpressed. What's your weapon? I have several. My competition piece is a Glock 34, but I'm also certified for... Pretty fancy for a lady shooter, he interrupted. Most women prefer something smaller, less complicated. I felt my jaw tighten. I prefer accuracy over stereotypes. Devin's eyes narrowed. Look, I'm just saying, some people come in here playing expert when they barely know which end of the gun to hold. Is there a problem here? Rick, the owner, approached. His normally friendly face looked concerned. Devin crossed his arms. Just making conversation with the customer. Rick, good to see you, I said, relieved at his arrival. I was telling Devin about my certification renewal. She claims she's some sort of competition shooter, Devin added with obvious skepticism. Rick frowned. Clover's one of our best customers. She placed 3rd in state championships last year. 3rd in women's division, I assume, Devin smirked. Overall, Rick corrected. Devin's smirk faded. Still, we've been having issues with casual enthusiasts wasting staff time with questions about equipment they'll never use properly. And you've determined I fall into that category, how exactly? I asked. I've got 20 years of experience, ma'am. I can spot the difference between serious shooters and hobbyists playing dress-up. Megan returned with my paperwork, sensing the tension immediately. Everything okay? She asked, glancing between us. Fine, Devin snapped. I'll handle this customer from here. As Megan reluctantly handed him my folder, he flipped through it with exaggerated scrutiny. There seems to be an issue with your paperwork, he declared. We can't process your renewal today. What issue? I asked. I submitted everything last week. Policy changes, new management requirements. His dismissive tone made it clear this was personal, not procedural. Devin, I don't recall any policy changes, Rick interjected. It's a security measure I've implemented. We need additional verification for certain categories of customers. Categories? I repeated. Those who might present higher safety risks, he replied smoothly. Nothing personal? Meaning women, I stated flatly. Devin's face hardened. Meaning, I'm going to have to ask you to leave until we can properly verify your credentials. Come back when you have a male companion who can vouch for your handling capabilities. The store went silent. Rick looked stunned. Devin, that's completely inappropriate, he started. But Devin cut him off. As security manager, I have final say on safety protocols, and I say she leaves. Now. As Rick began to protest further, Devin motioned to a security guard. Please escort this customer out. She's becoming disruptive. This is ridiculous, I said, but the guard was already approaching. I'll call you later, Rick whispered, as I was firmly guided toward the exit, Devin watching with smug satisfaction. Outside, humiliation burned my cheeks as other customers stared. My phone rang almost immediately. Clover, it's Megan. I'm so sorry about what happened. You won't believe what Devin said after you left. He said what? I gripped my coffee mug tightly, sitting across from Megan at the cafe 2 blocks from Marksman's Haven. It was her day off, and she'd called an emergency meeting. That you were typical of the problem with women trying to infiltrate male spaces. Those were his exact words, Megan said, her expression a mixture of disgust and worry. Rick was furious, but Devin pulled out some corporate policy manual and claimed he was following procedure. There's no such policy, I said flatly. I've been shopping there for years. Of course there isn't. Devin's making it up as he goes along. Megan leaned forward. He's done this to 3 other women since he started. One was a police officer, Clover. In uniform. How is he still employed? His uncle is on the board of directors for the parent company. Apparently, Devin got fired from his last 2 security jobs for personality conflicts. But family connections keep him failing upward. I shook my head in disbelief. What does Rick say? His hands are tied. The corporate restructuring put security personnel above individual store managers in the hierarchy. Megan sighed. But he's documenting everything. My phone buzzed. A text from Jason, another regular at Marksman's Haven and a good friend. I just got the weirdest lecture from some meathead at the store, I read aloud. Says I shouldn't encourage my lady friends to handle firearms beyond their capabilities. Says you'd had some kind of meltdown? He's spinning a narrative, Megan groaned. Classic move. I texted Jason back quickly, asking if we could meet. I need to know exactly what he's telling people. An hour later, Jason joined us, sliding into the booth with an apologetic expression. Clover, this guy's a piece of work. He's telling everyone you failed a basic safety check and then threw a fit when he called you on it. That's a complete lie, I exclaimed. There was no safety check. I know. Half the regulars don't believe him anyway. We've all seen you shoot. Jason pulled out his phone. I recorded part of his little speech after he cornered me in the ammo section. He played the recording, and Devin's condescending voice filled our corner of the cafe. Emotional stability is a key factor in responsible gun ownership, which is why we have to be especially careful with female customers. Miss Clover demonstrated exactly the kind of hysterical behavior that proves my point. This is unbelievable, I muttered, feeling my blood pressure rising. There's more, Jason said grimly. He's implementing a new training requirement specifically for women customers. Unless they can demonstrate proficiency to his satisfaction, they'll need a male sponsor to purchase anything beyond a basic handgun. That can't be legal, I said. It's not, came a new voice. We looked up to see Sarah Chen, a lawyer who frequently participated in the same shooting competitions I did. Sorry to interrupt, but I couldn't help overhearing. Discrimination based on sex in public accommodations is expressly prohibited by law. I waved her over to join us. Sarah, this is exactly your area. What can I do about this? Sarah's eyes gleamed with professional interest. Document everything. Get statements from witnesses. And I'd be very interested in reviewing this so-called policy manual he's citing. Rick might help with that, Megan suggested. He's been trying to reach the CEO directly, but corporate bureaucracy is slowing things down. The CEO? I asked. Margaret Wilson, Sarah supplied. She's actually a champion for women in shooting sports. Started as a competitive shooter herself before going into the business side. Jason snapped his fingers. That's it. The regional championship is this weekend. Margaret always attends. Devin doesn't know who you are in the larger shooting community, Clover. But Margaret will. And I have it on good authority she'll be doing a surprise visit to several local stores afterward, Megan added with a meaningful look. Part of their new customer experience initiative. A plan began forming in my mind. So if I can get into that competition and make sure I'm at the store when she visits. You'll need evidence, Sarah cautioned. Your word against his won't be enough. I've got the recording, Jason offered. And I can get statements from the other women he's done this to, Megan added. Perfect, Sarah nodded approvingly. But we need to catch him in the act. Clover, how do you feel about a little sting operation? I smiled for the first time since the incident. I think it's time Devin learned what happens when he underestimates the wrong woman. He's at the counter, Megan whispered into my hidden earpiece. Looking extra smug today. I adjusted my cap lower and nodded to Jason and Sarah, positioned strategically around Marksman's Haven. After placing second in yesterday's championship, where CEO Margaret Wilson had personally congratulated finalists, our plan was in motion. The CEO was now making her surprise store visit, currently in the back office with Rick. Remember, Sarah murmured, we need him to explicitly state the policy. Get it on record. I approached the counter where Devin was lecturing a young man with exaggerated patience. Excuse me, I said evenly. I need to renew my safety certification. Devin looked up, recognizing me despite my disguise. I believe I made myself clear. You need a male companion to vouch for me? I finished. Is that official store policy? It's my policy as security manager, for safety reasons. So Marksman's Haven officially requires women to have male supervision? Not all purchases, Devin clarified condescendingly. Just those requiring advanced handling knowledge. Such as a standard certification renewal? The same one I've completed for 3 years? Ma'am, Devin's voice dripped with false patience. We've implemented enhanced protocols. Take it up with corporate if you'd like. He smirked. Though they won't care about one hysterical customer who couldn't pass a basic assessment. Interesting. Especially since I never took any assessment. You simply decided, based on my gender, that I wasn't qualified. Devin's face hardened. I made a professional judgment based on 20 years of experience. Women don't have the same natural aptitude for firearms. Is that the official position of Marksman's Haven? That women are inherently less capable? It's scientific fact, Devin stated firmly. Men have better spatial awareness, steadier hands, more natural authority. It's biology. And you're enforcing this personal belief as store policy? I'm ensuring customer safety by implementing screening measures for high-risk demographics. High-risk demographics, meaning women. Look, Devin smiled thinly. If you want pepper spray or a small .22, I'll help. Otherwise, leave. Again. On what grounds? Disruptive behavior, creating a hostile environment. Should I call security like last time? That won't be necessary, came a crisp female voice. Margaret Wilson walked forward with Rick. I believe I've heard enough. Devin's face fell. Miss Wilson, I didn't realize... Clearly, Margaret cut him off. Mr. Rayburn, why are you turning away yesterday's second-place championship winner? One of our most valued customers? There was a security concern. The only security concern I see is you, Margaret stated flatly. Rick has shown me documentation of your systematic discrimination. Combined with what I just witnessed? Ma'am, you don't understand the security implications. Don't I? I founded this company after winning 3 national championships. I understand firearm security thoroughly. Devin's face reddened. This is a setup! Mr. Rayburn, you're fired. Effective immediately. Devin pointed at me, trembling. You planned this. Your uncle will hear about this. Your uncle approved this termination 30 minutes ago, Margaret informed him coldly. Devin slammed his fist down. I'll sue. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of operation you're running, letting emotional women play with deadly weapons. Everything you've said has been recorded, Sarah said, holding up her phone. Devin lunged across the counter. This is your fault! Security guards restrained him before he could reach me. Add assault charges, Margaret said calmly. And call the police. All rise, announced the bailiff, as Judge Thompson entered the courtroom 3 months after the confrontation. Sarah squeezed my arm. Stay calm no matter what he says. Devin sat at the defendant's table looking diminished in his oversized suit, his attorney nervously shuffling papers. The judge called the court to order to hear Devin's testimony in his assault and harassment case. I'd already provided mine earlier in the week, along with Margaret, Rick, and other witnesses. Devin took the stand, glaring at me with undisguised contempt. Mr. Rayburn, his attorney began, could you explain your actions at Marksman's Haven? I was doing my job, Devin stated condescendingly, ensuring customers could safely handle merchandise. Did you believe Miss Clover posed a safety risk? Absolutely. Her emotional reaction demonstrated exactly the temperament that raises security flags. Objection, called the prosecutor. The defendant is characterizing the plaintiff's state of mind without evidence. Sustained, said the judge. Did you intend to discriminate based on gender? Never, Devin insisted. This was purely a safety issue that she twisted into a gender crusade. When the prosecutor approached, she carried a stack of documents. Mr. Rayburn, you've stated your actions were motivated by safety, not gender bias, correct? Absolutely. Then explain this email you sent. She handed him a page. Where you write, finally implementing proper standards. No more coddling these gun bunnies who can't handle real firepower. Devin's face darkened as murmurs filled the courtroom. That was taken out of context. And these performance reviews from previous employers? 3 terminations citing inappropriate conduct toward female colleagues and creating a hostile work environment? By the end of cross-examination, Devin was seething. You've been systematically preventing qualified women from accessing their legal right to purchase firearms, the prosecutor concluded, based not on legitimate concerns, but on prejudice. They don't belong there, Devin exploded, pounding the witness stand. These women come in playing expert when they can barely hit a target. Someone had to maintain standards. Later on the courthouse steps, Sarah announced the verdict to our group. Guilty on all counts. The judge was impressed by Rick and Megan's documentation. Devin faces fines, sensitivity training, community service, and a restraining order from all Marksman's Haven locations. Plus permanent unemployability in the firearms industry, Margaret added. I've made sure every retailer knows what liability he represents. Devin's attorney approached us. Miss Clover, my client asked me to convey his apology. He realizes his mistake and hopes... Save it, I interrupted firmly. Your client had multiple opportunities to recognize his behavior was wrong. He doubled down each time. I'm not interested in whatever apology he's crafted to minimize consequences. The lawyer nodded resignedly and walked away. Celebration at the range? Megan suggested. First round of ammos on me? Actually, Margaret said, I was hoping to discuss something with Clover. We're creating a new position. Community Outreach Director for Women's Firearms Education. After seeing how you handled this situation, I think you'd be perfect. As we walked to the parking lot, I felt a weight lifting. Not just because justice was served, but because something positive emerged from the experience. You know what the best revenge is? I asked my friends. Living well? Sarah suggested. I smiled. Making sure what happened to you can't happen to anyone else. What would you do if you were discriminated against? Would you fight back or walk away? Like and comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of justice served.